just going to ask for your name.
My name is Dale Gentry.
And if we're not allowed to have that in there, we're going to cut that out.
Okay.
And how old are you, Dale?
I'm 63.
And looking good for it.
Yep.
I'm going to guess your male.
That's a good guess.
And what's your race? Caucasian?
Yes.
Now, where were you born?
Actually, I was born in Cookeville, Tennessee.
Okay. You did not know that.
Spent the first year of my life in Cookeville, Tennessee. And then we moved here.
And current residence would be Jefferson City.
Actually, Newmarket.
Newmarket, yeah. It's so close. And what is your level of education?
I have a bachelor's degree in journalism from the University of Tennessee. Guess technically it's communications, but
And what is your profession?
I am a newspaper publisher and editor.
Okay. Now we're going to ask, what is the most exciting thing about your job?
I think the most exciting thing is probably the variety in it. Just getting to meet different people and learn about different things and write about different things.
So it's like a lot of learning. You get to just glean a lot of information.
Yes,
Like that.
yes.
Okay.
I'll just give you I'll give you a for instance. Just done last week, I've interviewed people that were ag teachers at the high school, and then done some stories on education, and I was trying to think what else. Oh, this was probably the most fun story then. Was Friday night they had this thing called the Celebrity Waiters Dinner.
Where was this?
It was at First Baptist Church.
Okay.
The people dress up like different characters or celebrities, and they're raising money for the Cancer Society. So the people that are invited to their table give them tips and raise money, and it's a lot of fun.
I've never heard of that before.
Yeah. So yeah, it's a lot of fun. I actually did it one time, and I was John McEnroe. And I slammed my racket down and everything. It was great.
So you brought your tennis racket too?
Well, an old one.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's nice. So, okay, how about we move to tennis? You enjoy tennis?
Yes.
Do you kind of elaborate on that? Like, you played in high school, college?
Yeah, I played competitively from the time I was about 12 through. Did not play in college. Actually was the only member of my high school tennis team that did not play college tennis. But I did win the intramural championship at UT.
Nice.
So that was nice, yeah. Well, I don't know. Yeah, played tennis and was actually ranked in the state at one time in singles and doubles when I was like 14 or 16. So, yeah, had a lot of fun.
Okay. Hey, what about your family life? How was that growing up? So you grew up in Cookeville, then really you grew up in Jefferson City?
Yes, grew up in Jefferson City. My dad moved to Jefferson City in 1956 and bought the newspaper. And so I grew up here. We lived in the city. He was really involved in, trying to grow the newspaper and everything and build a business. So as a child, he wasn't there a lot. It was my mom and sister and I pretty much doing stuff because he worked 12 hours a day at least, maybe 16 sometimes. But just growing up in the city, we grew up in a neighborhood where there was tons of kids. Actually, right over on Overlook, close to Manual, and we'd run all over the neighborhood every day, just playing with different groups of people and stuff. But it was a lot of fun, and like the pool was, city pool and the baseball field were like 5 or 6 blocks away, so we rode bikes to the pool and that kind of thing.
So you're my pastor. So, what about religion? What are your views on religion? How did your family influence it? How did you kind of influence others?
Okay. Well, I grew up going to church. Actually, at First Baptist, probably when First Baptist was the largest it's ever been, and so, went to church all the time. Went to vacation Bible school, that kind of thing. My parents are Christians, and so I guess I was about 13 when I accepted Jesus as my Savior, and then probably a couple years later really started growing as a Christian, and was lucky enough to have some friends I played tennis with who, one in particular that was 3 years older than me, that went to UT on a tennis scholarship and got involved with a Bible study through the Navigators, and then he sort of got me connected with some other folks, and so I had a great experience growing up in Navigators and Campus Crusade for Christ. Just learning what it meant to be a Christian, sharing my faith, helping others to grow, encouraging others. So that was really I was very fortunate, and I had 3 really close Christian friends in high school too that were a big influence on my life.
Okay. So what are your views on politics, and what are your parents' views, and how did they influence it?
I don't know that my parents really tried to influence my views on politics that much. I mean, they're conservative and Republican, and that's sort of the way I lean. But I have voted for Democrats before. But I don't know. I think I just sort of figured it out myself, what I thought and what my values were, and then honestly I pretty much try to just look at the candidates themselves and what they stand for, not necessarily voting strictly party line.
That's good. So what are your attitudes toward language and accents, and kind of how you iterated before we started recording, how you see other dialects and slang, and how other people view your slang and dialect?
Okay. Well, I think East Tennesseans have a very unique dialect and style of pronunciation of different things. And I've traveled to different parts of the country, and almost always the 2 reactions are, I love talk some more. I love hearing you talk, or they make fun of you the way you talk. So one of 2 reactions. I remember going to Wisconsin one time, and I think they talk funny, personally, but they made fun of us. I was actually with a group from our press association. We were judging, or they were judging our contest, our press contest, newspaper contest. And I remember them sort of making fun of us and the way we talked. But I have been in places where they just thought it was wonderful the way we talked, and they wanted to hear some more. So,
is there anything that really grinds your gears? Whenever you hear somebody say a certain phrase or a saying, and it's just I can't give you an example, but
I don't know. I've heard different. It's interesting. I find it interesting how people pronounce different words. Like I had a roommate in college that I roomed with for 3 years who was from Virginia, and he said water. He pronounced it water, and that's the way he always said it. And then I've got a friend who is from New Orleans, Greg.
Oh, okay.
We say ambulance.
Mm-hmm.
He says ambulance. So, just people put different emphasis on syllables and things. I don't know that there's anything that really sort of grinds my gears. You know, because I've been in a lot of different parts of the country, like I've said, and heard a lot of different ways people, you know, talk through their nose or whatever. It's sort of like those Wisconsin guys. You know, Wisconsin, you know. So, yeah, it's just different. Variety's interesting.
So different people have different cultures and everything. They have different languages, different dialects of the same language, so on. What are some things that are kind of common sense to you in your culture that you've grown up with that may not be common sense to other people? Not necessarily with language, just culture in general.
Trying to think of an example. Maybe you should give me an example. So I know what you're asking me. Common sense in culture. Things that we think are common sense that other people don't.
Maybe
right?
like idioms or sayings that you grew up hearing, but if you said it to somebody in a different state, they'd have no clue what you meant.
Okay. Oh, I'm trying to think what the one. There was one with Greg Schlosser that. I think it was something like, you wouldn't care if I did so and so, and that meant something entirely different to him. It was like, or like, well, I don't care if you do that. You know, I don't care if you borrow my lawnmower. And to me, it means that's fine, go ahead. But to him, it was like, you object to that, you know, kind of thing. You see what I'm saying?
Okay, I see.
So there's.
So I'm kind of seeing from your viewpoint because that's how I took it too. Whenever I heard it.
Yeah.
So it's kind of strange. I like that. Okay.
Yeah.
That's different.
Yeah. So I'm trying to think if there's any. I'm sure there's other things. I'm just not thinking of.
Is there like a saying that you say to Teresa or somebody about like, just like a saying that you say all the time? Some general expression. And you may not hear it like outside of East Tennessee.
Well, if it's one phrase I've used a lot lately because we've been dealing with problems with my mom and different things and things that are out of our control because she's been real sick lately. I say typically about those things, it is what it is, because there's nothing we can do about it. You know, so that's one thing that I guess is one of the phrases I use fairly frequently. Trying to think. I'm sure there's others. That's the one that comes to mind right now.
Well, what about growing up, like your kind of experiences as a child, or some things that are common sense back then, that you kind of like, you just kind of took for granted that you knew that that's how things worked, but maybe not everybody did. You know what I mean?
I'm not exactly sure what you're asking.
So maybe you grew up and you rode your bike around town, but you knew that at some points, even if there wasn't a crosswalk, you could ride your bike across the street if there wasn't any cars, because you know it's a fairly small city.
Mm-hmm.
So just kind of something specific to East Tennessee, how it kind of pertains to you.
I don't know that it's East Tennessee.
What about the community? How would you treat strangers if you met them? Is it more of like?
Yeah, I think in East Tennessee we're generally very friendly and very, well, at least people that I'm around are very welcoming of people. I think that's just sort of part of our Southern hospitality, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's sort of unique I think it is unique to the South. Although I have been at places, one place that really surprised me is the first time I went to Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
My perception of Chicago was there'd be a lot of people who didn't want to talk to you and probably were rude. They weren't. They were friendly.
Really?
I mean, you could stop somebody on the street and say, "Can you tell me how to get to so and so?" And they'd say, "Oh yeah, let me walk over there and show you how to get down the street." You know, which really surprised me because I thought I'd been to New York and I didn't find New York to be people to be that rude. Maybe I just hit them at a good time. I don't know.
It was just like a false representation on news and media.
Yeah. Of course, you know, I mean, it's stereotypes.
Yeah. Again, it
And
goes back to
we're
stereotypes.
stereotyped as being sort of country bumpkins who don't know anything, but I think people here have a lot of common sense about stuff, you know. But I'm sure that's true in other places too. So.
So, one last thing. I'm going to ask you to read off these word lists. Here you go. One at a time.
Ooh, word list. 2 word lists. Fill, pen, oil, hollow, fish bait, wash, help, feel, potato, life, pin, thorough, feel, follow, get, red, old lace, fire, fail, home, hit, wire, feet, doing, okra, greasy, mining, tobacco, fell, lice, lot, thought, prize, boil, poor, pin, choice, toll, ball, pour, trap, dress, cub, thing, fought, test, hand, nothing, this morning, often, trimmed, clasp, cost, risk, story, ask, toe, fault, grasp.
Awesome. Pass. Thank you.
That's for knowledge.